Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. There's Bugsy Malone, doing the things that she loves to do. I hope you are too. It's Friday. Happy Friday. Big day tomorrow. Bournemouth away. We're going to be talking about that on a live stream later on. A preview, so keep a lookout for when that goes out. Make sure you join us. We've got lots to talk about this morning though on this Tottenham walk. Please hit the like button for me, guys, like you always do. Your like game recently has gone to new levels. It's always been good. It's always been very good. Now it's at the extraordinary stage, and I very much appreciate it. So smash the like button for me. Hit the subscribe whilst you're at it as well, if you haven't already. We're on 15,800 now. Another metric that has just been going through the roof every day. It's crazy. I'm very, very appreciative. Let's see where we can take it. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topics. So I want to breeze through the outgoings quickly, and they may be not outgoings, and then I want to talk a little bit about some incomings that I haven't yet spoken about. And there's a player, Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord, who I didn't realise we'd been linked with for the last 2 days. I missed it, and I'm so glad to hear that we are linked with him, and I really hope that they are sincere links, because if they are, then it's very exciting, and I'll tell you why when we get to that part of the stage of the story rather. Let's start with the outgoings. Troy Parrot has gone to the Eredivisie on loan. For me, look, wish him well, good luck to him. I just think this guy, you know, he can't get his career off the ground. Wherever he goes, whatever level it's at, he never really smashes it out of the park. I just don't think that he will make it at Tottenham in any way, shape or form, and I feel like it would take an extraordinary turnaround of his form for us to be looking at him in the future. So I see these kind of loan escapades as more of a shop window exercise, and look, it will either eventuate with a nominal fee for him or he'll leave the club for free. Just don't see it working out. We've been trying it for too long, and he hasn't really ever got out of first gear. Another player who I don't think is similar in that vein is Devine. Find out this morning that he is going to Port Vale, League One side Port Vale, on loan. Port Vale went out of their way to thank the club for allowing this to happen, and specifically the role of Andy Scolding, which is interesting, something to take note of. For me, look, Devine is incredibly highly thought of at Tottenham Hotspur, another homegrown player, and I'm not sure if League One is the correct level for him. Whenever I've seen him play, I've always thought he's stood out above the kind of youth team. He's always been well ahead. And whenever I've seen him play for Tottenham in pre-season and those sorts of things, I've always thought he's comfortable at the level. Listen, I don't know, I don't watch him every day, so I'll trust the club's judgment, but I would imagine that League One, I think he'll smash it, but then what does that mean? He'll come back, and then next season we have to put him out on loan again to a championship level club to make sure that we're giving him the necessary steps, which means we won't really see him in the first team for at least 2 years, maybe 3 years. That to me is a bit of a disappointment and a concern. So yeah, I just feel like maybe a championship level club would have been a better level to see how he can fare. Throw him in the deep end a little bit, but listen, it is what it is, and I wish him well, and I know that he's going to be a superstar. I just thought he was maybe perhaps more ready for a stronger level than the League One, but we will see. The only other real news that I need to get off my chest is the disappointing news, I guess, for some. Maybe it's reassuring news for others, and that's that Serge Reguilon's move to Sociedad is seemingly off. Kieran Tierney from Arsenal has moved there instead. They play in the same position of left back, and so with such little time left in the window, it would be unusual for Reguilon to be able to find another club. I mean, it could easily happen. I would just be surprised. So does that mean that he's staying at Tottenham now? If so, then what does that mean that we can do with regards Ryan Sessegnon? Do we just not register him until January? I don't know how far away he is from recovery. I mean, he's always injured anyway. It's an absolute nightmare, that guy. His career has just been blighted with injuries. And what does that mean for Ben Davies? Does that maybe mean that Ben Davies moves on? I would doubt that, because Ben Davies does count now as homegrown for Premier League rules. So it's not another bit of, it's difficult news to interpret. We're very bloated And that was one of the players that we thought maybe would have moved out, and then Ben Davies could cover at left back alongside Sessegnon when he gets back from injury. Now we're going to have technically 4 left backs in the squad, which is a lot. Same problem I guess you could throw at the right back situation. We've got a lot of right backs as well. Jed Spence, no real noise about him apart from maybe being part of a move to Nottingham Forest. And I think that's where I'll start the kind of incomings noise. Brennan Johnson's story won't go away. £50 million for him, I think it's madness high. I think it's such an inflated fee. Of course he is Welsh, but I think he was born in Nottingham, so I think he definitely counts as homegrown. To me though, I don't know if the English tax should be that high for a player that is fairly one-dimensional. I've explained how I feel about him. That doesn't mean I think he's a bad player. I just don't think he does enough other things than what he's very good at. He could learn, I'm sure he can learn. And look, if Ange has identified him as a player that fits the system, then so be it. I'll support it. What I think makes more sense though is some of the rumours that are circulating that maybe Tottenham can kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone here and not make it a £50 million transfer, but a £50 million valuation. And in so doing, you pay £20 million for Brennan Johnson plus people like Jed Spence or Japhet Tanganga or Sanchez, or a number of those players go in a different direction. The problem is that of the 4 players that I think have been touted as being of interest to Nottingham Forest, 3 of them are also homegrown. And that to me leaves yet more concerns around how do we make those numbers work. You can only have 18 non-homegrown players in your matchday squad. Obviously we've got a few players that are foreign that can fit in the under-21, so they don't have to be technically registered. And maybe Gift Orban can also fit into that kind of bucket for the time being. But in any event, all the players we seem to be able to release or to move on this summer are homegrown. It is a ticking time bomb at the moment. And so maybe, just maybe, that is, as I say, the reason why we're looking at people like Brennan Johnson with more closer scrutiny than other players. Speaking of another player though, guys, I didn't realise Tottenham were linked with this man. I've seen it now, and I saw the article, and it's been spread around, and apparently it's being taken quite seriously in Holland. And that is Feyenoord's Argentinian 22-year-old striker, Santiago Jimenez. I don't know if you have seen this guy too much, but I really, really, really like this guy. He also plays for a team who has a second player who I keep talking about, called Gertruida from Feyenoord, who plays right back, number 6, centre backs on both sides. And maybe, just maybe, the answer to some of our issues lies in Feyenoord. I think that Santiago Jimenez, he reminds me so much in his languid style of Harry Kane. Obviously different levels, right? Obviously does different things. Jimenez is an out-and-out number 9. Let me start with his stats. I think he played 32 games last season, and he got 15 goals and 3 assists in the Eredivisie. So it sounds like it's a just above 1 in 2 ratio of goal contributions to games played. But in actual fact, he only played 1900 minutes of football, which is the equivalent of playing 21 games from the first minute until the last. Or 20 games really, when you include injury time. So if you really factor it in, it's about 18 goal contributions in about 21, 22 games, something like that, which is phenomenal. He started out the season as a bit part player, getting 15 minutes here, 6 minutes there, 20 minutes there, and by January started to come into the team after scoring a worldie goal off the bench. He then went on a 9-game goals in a row streak, if that makes sense. 9 goals in a goal per game for 9 games. Couldn't get it out. I need to have my coffee. And one of those games, I think he had 2. He also scored, I think, 2 of his assists during that run. So he's a momentum player, confidence player, And some of the goals that he scored are fantastic. But when I said he reminds me a little bit of Harry Kane, it's the way that he turns and runs with the ball. He hasn't got quick feet, right? He's about 6 foot. He's got long legs, but he's not quick-footed like a traditional dribbler of the ball. But he finds his way through clever tricks, touches, using his weight differently, and real guile and intelligence in the way that he maneuvers the ball around players. It reminds me of Harry Kane, the way that Harry Kane can protect the ball and draw fouls, and if not do that, then at least create opportunities without having the natural dribbler's footwork speed. He's a very good crosser of the ball, fantastic finisher with both feet, can use his head. Like I say, he's 22, he's another Argentinian player. I don't know if these rumours are true. I genuinely do really like this guy. He's at the start of his career. Last year was his breakout season for Feyenoord. Obviously he's gone through the ranks a little bit over the previous years, but he stepped up, and to me he's a player that we should all be keeping a very close eye on. Will it happen this summer? I doubt it. I don't think he'll be the 9 because of, like I said already, the homegrown numbers. I think that's an issue. I think that, you know, I don't see Feyenoord necessarily letting him go on the cheap, because I do think they've got a real talent there. But go and check out his stuff on YouTube or on the Y Scout if you've got it. I think you'll see what I mean when you look at his style of play. It's very reminiscent of someone like Harry Kane. A lot to learn to get to that level, a lot of growth to get to, but just the familiarity for me kind of filled my heart a little bit. It made me feel warm and fuzzy. I really like him. Very strong player as well. So that's it really in terms of the transfer news today, guys. There wasn't much else to report. We don't have anything more on the defenders front. I know you guys always say in the comments, all very good talking about strikers, Sean, but where are the defenders? That's all gone quiet on the Western Front. The only name that's still kind of lingering around there is Tosin Adarabioyo, who for what it's worth is a player that I'd absolutely love to come in. You know, he's 6'4". He's, I think, the fastest centre-back in the Premier League, or at least he was, maybe before Van Devine came in. Great in the air, super strong in the tackle, a no-nonsense player. And I definitely think that Tottenham need another defender of sorts, alongside another forward. I would be surprised if Tottenham do not bring in one of Orban, Brennan Johnson, and to a lesser desired level for me, players like Jonathan David. I think you're going to find someone coming in. You might even find 2, depending on how many outgoings we can get. But guys, keep an eye on the homegrown number, because all the names we're getting rid of and all the names we're linked with getting rid of at the moment are players that would naturally count for our homegrown, and not players that you would naturally necessarily want to start, but players like Alfie Devine could have sat on the bench and not filled you with fear if they had to kind of be in that bucket. It's going to be interesting. I don't think we can necessarily bring in too many more players that are foreign, that are over the age of 21. So maybe Gift Orban's the highest likelihood for that basis, if no other. We're all very interesting, guys, but we're starting to get players out. It's just, I'm a little bit surprised at the players we're getting out and the levels we're sending them to. Let me know your thoughts. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, bye-bye.